A young Kenyan woman was asked what she thought would transform Africa. She thought for a moment and then pulled out her cell phone. And with that cell phone, we suddenly have the capacity to communicate with any other human being on the surface of the planet, and the capacity for people power to form into things that transform the world. That is a quote paraphrased from my favorite musician, Peter Gabriel. Mr. Gabriel is a human rights activist that, like many others similar to him, use social media as a tool to battle against those who oppress and strip others of their basic human rights all around the world. Social media is now a tool which is imperative for achieving goals such as these. Sadly, we won't be talking about Peter Gabriel today. We're going to be talking about the movie Friend Request, which deals with some of the more asinine uses of social media, particularly one's Facebook friend count. For all the benefits this system gives to us, it also gives us this. So we open in a lecture hall where a professor enters and informs the surrounding students that a classmate had killed herself the weekend prior. This is met with a lot of shocked expressions, as well as one student asking if it were true the suicide was filmed. The professor reprimands her for asking about the video and then proceeds to tell everyone that the video exists and that it was uploaded to the university's website. Oh boy. Why would you even tell people the video is real? Why even bring up that it was ever on the internet at all? What's more, are you guys not all too concerned about the fact that someone presumably hacked into your server and uploaded this video of a girl killing herself? Do you think you should try and figure out who did that? No? Okay. Guarantee everyone in this room will have seen the video by the end of the day. So we rewind 2 weeks prior to this event, where we are properly introduced to 3 of our main characters, Laura, Olivia, and Isabel. Laura is watching an adorable kitten video when this happens.
Liv, this video is so cute.
Yep. There's a lot of jump scares in this movie.
So not scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. Next, we get a montage of Laura's Facebook post, just in case the social media aspect of this film wasn't shoved down our throats enough. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so nobody accepts friend requests like this. Right, yeah, okay, yeah, I wish videos loaded that fast on Facebook. Okay, and a live friends list count. Oh my god, you have 800 friends? I mean, I know that isn't that far-fetched, but seriously? You ever think that maybe you shouldn't just accept every single friend request that's thrown your way? How many of these people do you suppose she's met? No wonder she ended up getting a demon on there. Still, this admittingly isn't the worst way to do character exposition, as we quickly learn that Laura is studying to be a psychiatrist, as her father was. She is involved with at least one charity program for children, and she has, as of recent, begun a relationship with a surfer/medical student by the name of Tyler. After this, we cut to a cafeteria table where Laura is sitting with some of her friends discussing their character development. We're given some brief introductions to some of the other victims of this film, Kobe and Gustavo, as Laura makes eye contact with a strange and lonely girl, Marina, sitting off on her own. This leads us to the next scene, in which we get more reminders that Facebook is the gimmick of this movie. Laura and her friends are looking through some pictures that she's posted for some reason, and Laura gets a friend request from the girl. She clicks on the request, and it turns out that Marina doesn't have any friends. This is pointed out to be odd, but Laura tries to make the excuse for her that she might have just made her Facebook despite scrolling through several days worth of posts. So this girl never received a single friend request. Ever. I do not believe you, movie. Also, it's very interesting how this girl is so incredibly experienced with CGI and computer animation. I'm not saying it's impossible, it's just interesting. Why are you even in this school if you're able to do half of this? You should be animating for Tim Burton or something with this level of talent and interest. Why are you posting it here where nobody is going to see it instead of going to some corpse bride messaging board or something? So despite every single red flag and warning sign this profile throws at her, Laura still decides to accept the request, which, I mean, fair enough, I suppose. I guess just because you accept someone's friend request doesn't mean you have to necessarily... Oh. Huh. You do that with all 800 and some odd people in your friends list, Laura? Marina and Laura talk for a minute, and, Yeah, Marina isn't exactly a social butterfly. It's pretty well established that the girl has no friends whatsoever, yet desperately wants some, and Laura doesn't exactly pick up on it very well. Laura is quickly met with a number of messages from Marina asking to hang out with her again. We cut to Marina's perspective, where we see her shifting through all of Laura's photos while simultaneously tearing her hair out of her scalp. So Laura has a nightmare about Marina standing outside her window, and I suppose that's enough to have her start second-guessing her decision to allow Marina into the Laura Woodson fan club. Interesting how you would dream about the wasps before you actually knew it was was an important part of Marina's character. You saw one post that had the beehive on it, but I suppose that one post left a lasting impression over all the other weird crap she had on there. Cultist skeleton mirror out in the woods, burning buildings, dark corridor with a shadowy figure at the end of it. Nah, no. Bees. Also, I love how the messenger sound effects become more ominous once Marina starts texting her. Glad Facebook is putting their effort into these kind of features instead of the other thousands of criticisms they have. So we get a scene where Laura and her friends are examining Marina's profile. They scroll down until they start seeing more and more disturbing images and posts that the girl had made. Apparently, Marina is not only incredibly talented with computer animation, but she's also capable of setting up entire live-action scene reenactments with special effects and all. Fake blood splatter, burning buildings, dying skeleton woman on a gurney, scary pregnant lady with horrifying runes carved into her stomach. How the hell did she get these shots? I'm pretty sure Marina is just one of those edgy independent filmmakers at this point. In fact, we're really going to drive home the edgy factor as we see that she named one of her photo albums Black Mirrors with a 1 for the I and a 0 for the O. Finally, I guess the black and white videos that barely contain PG-13 levels of gore in them become too much for our daring trio and they close the laptop. This is followed by a brief discussion on how Marina invited herself to Laura's birthday party and they don't know what to do about it. You see what happens when you're nice to people, Laura? But yes, this is kind of a touchy situation. How does Laura decide to handle it? Well, lying, of course.
It's just Tyler and I tonight. We're going out to dinner, so just two of us.
Okay, this is gonna take me a moment. First of all, movie, stop framing the mentally ill, lonely person like she's already an evil demon. This glitchy video thing over her face, that's not how video quality works. Why are you trying to make me feel sympathy for this character while simultaneously making her out to be a reprehensible stalker? So anyway, Marina notices something is off and asks if she did anything wrong, which Laura insists is not the case. There are so many different things you could have said to get out of this, Laura. If I may offer a weird alternative to this little plan of yours, why don't you just let her come? What is she going to do? I can tell you right now what she's going to do. She's going to sit off in the corner and ignore basically everyone. Maybe she'll do one or two things to embarrass you, but do you really think that's going to destroy your evening? You're a psych major. How the hell do you not spend 10 minutes with this girl and immediately see that she has immense mental issues as well as a possibly horrible home life? Wouldn't this be an ideal opportunity for you to help people as you so claim to like to do? Your boyfriend even makes a comment about it when he first sees her profile.
She gonna be your friend or your first mental patient?
You are literally being given a chance to put your major to work here and actually help somebody who needs it. But no, you chose the way that had the most risk of making her mental state even worse. Again, there were so many things you could have said to get out of this. Would you like to hear some of them, Miss Psych Major?
Are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong?
No, you didn't do anything wrong. You're just coming on a bit strong. We're still friends. I still understand, but you gotta let me have some of the old personal space, you know?
But what about tonight? Aren't you celebrating with your friends?
You know, tonight's only supposed to be for family and really close friends that I've known for a long time. You're still new to the group, and we just need a little bit more time to transition you in. We'll hang out, we'll go get pizza or something later. It'll be great. Alternatively...
But what about tonight? Aren't you celebrating with your friends?
Yeah, sounds good. See you there. We find out that Marina values honesty above all else. So really all you had to do was sit her down for a minute and say, hey, I just want to clear the air here. You and I don't really have a lot in common. You can still text me and we can still hang out and all that, but I don't really see us becoming super best friends. Then you know what you could have done? After you made sure that Marina understood that you were both still on good terms, you could have had her start posting her art and advanced CGI animation on some gothic forum board or something. Have her start making some friends that she can actually relate to, introduce her to people, bring her to social events, and eventually, when she had her own group of friends, she could say, yeah, Laura and I aren't really that close of friends, but she helped me through some really dark times, and she changed my life forever, and she'll always have a special place in my heart for that. But yes, of course, Laura, lying is certainly the best option here. Hi everyone, I'm Laura, and I'm a psych major. I like to help people until it becomes difficult. So Laura goes to her birthday party and proceeds to allow an entire album's worth of pictures to be posted to Facebook. Yep. No thoughts about that whatsoever, huh? Not even crossing your mind that Marina will see this. Not even the slightest of concerns that maybe you could do something as simple as changing the privacy settings so they don't show up for her. So Marina confronts Laura in the cafeteria, and Laura looks absolutely shocked about it, so I guess she didn't think about any of those things once. Marina says she had a present for Laura, which she had been working on for the past 2 weeks, and Laura, in all her crisis-averting talent, decides to make things 10 times worse by snapping back that they had barely even known each other that long. Shockingly, this sends the socially inept person into a frenzy as she grabs Laura's arm and begins shouting about how she doesn't know what it's like to be alone. This ends with Marina's hat falling off, and she is immediately embarrassed in front of everyone when her scarred scalp is revealed. Don't you wish that Laura could be your psychiatrist? Little off topic, but I love how much trouble they go through to make sure that this isn't Facebook when it's very clearly Facebook. Not a criticism, it's just something that brings a bit of a chuckle to me. Also, I love how logging in takes her straight to her profile and not her newsfeed. I feel like that would be a little annoying after a little while. Also, who the hell doesn't keep themselves logged into their Facebook on their own laptop? Okay, I'm done with this shot now. She is terrible at arranging her desktop. Why does she have a random folder here and a picture right there? So anyway, Laura receives a bunch of messages from Marina wherein she apologizes for her outburst. Whoa. It's almost like she recognizes that she could have handled things better and she's willing to come forth and admit that she didn't. It's almost like this girl is not completely out of the realm of help and you could practice what you're studying to set her life in the right direction. It's almost like this girl is literally crying out to you for help and she has no idea how to do it because she's never interacted with somebody else on this level before. It's almost like you're a terrible psychiatrist. So Laura unfriends Marina because she has no concept of consequences, and Marina proceeds to tug relentlessly on my heartstrings as we see that she is utterly heartbroken upon seeing it. If nothing else, I will say that for a relatively new actress, Liesl Allers is incredibly talented. Most of the acting in this movie is, for the most part, fairly competent, save for a couple glaring instances. But Liesl definitely stands out through this film. You can actually see the isolation and sorrow in her eyes when she looks at her once again empty friends list. And especially these days, in a movie like this, you don't really come across a lot of actors or actresses that can do that as well as she did. So we get a jump scare, and then we get a recap at the beginning of this movie for those of you who either slept through it or were unable to make the connection of where this scene fits into the film chronologically. But the main point is that Marina's dead now. It's time for the horror part of our horror film. How well do you suppose these people are going to handle it? So we gather around the cafeteria table / meeting room for a brief bit of exposition on Marina's death. Gustavo makes a comment about how they might be able to get out of the school early for the funeral. Gotta paint those targets on themselves early on, I suppose. However, Kobe points out that a funeral isn't going to happen as the police don't know where her body is. And I'm pretty sure funerals can still happen without a body, bud. It's not really the main focus of a funeral. Kobe goes on to say that Marina's keycard hadn't even been swiped all weekend. Not only that, but her contact information and social security number have been deleted from the school database. So they aren't even actually sure if Marina Mills was an alias or not. You sure know a lot about this investigation, Kobe. How the hell did you find all that out? You said the police were at your dorm earlier. Why? You had no contact with Marina at all. Why did they go to you and not Laura? Did they just come to your dorm to give you this possibly sensitive information so we could get a super creepy who was she really scene at the lunch table? The whole thing of Marina being a fake name doesn't even actually go anywhere. The most we get is that she had a different last name than we thought, which is kind of a letdown considering how big of a deal it's made out to be in this scene. God forbid we did anything interesting with our setups. So the following night, Laura wakes up to the sound of her phone dinging and is confused and horrified to find a message from Marina waiting for her. She opens her laptop instead of looking at it on the phone for some reason, where she brings up Messenger and finds Marina's account has sent her a video. Despite how stupidly obvious what this video is, Laura plays it without even looking at the 3 or 4 messages below it. So Marina burns a picture of Laura, hangs herself, and then gets set on fire from the burning picture. Laura handles it pretty well.
Oh my god. What's going on?
And her boyfriend wakes up and proceeds to try and delete the video from Messenger. It doesn't work, and then he continues to try and delete it while it's still playing. Why don't you just pause it? Or close the browser? Or there you go. So the next day, Laura's in class, and everyone's giving her weird looks, and she's starting to lose friends on Facebook, because I guess that matters. She gets a text from her boyfriend telling her that the video has been posted from her account. She opens up her laptop and brings up her profile to find Marina's suicide video posted on it with all of her friends tagged in it. I don't believe for a second that this has 0 likes. People like things without even looking at them. You can't tell me that not a single person in this 800 and some odd group of people didn't look at this and think to themselves, no, look, Laura tagged me in something. I don't feel like watching it right now, and then proceed to like it and forget about its existence. Also, I'd like to point out, at this point, I can't figure out whether or not Laura is meant to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist, because apparently even the movie can't even figure it out. At the beginning of the movie, when she's talking to Marina, Laura says this.
Well, my dad was a psychiatrist, so I guess I, want to follow in his footsteps.
But now on her Facebook, it says that she's studying psychology. So, it's just a throw up of whatever. I don't, who knows. Yes, I know it doesn't actually matter. Yes, I know that psychology and psychiatry are basically the same thing, except for one of them you had to go to medical school. But still, I did a lot of re-recording for what I thought was a mistake on my part, damn it. Still should have seen what was going on with Marina. So anyway, Laura tries to delete the video, and it doesn't work. And we see that everyone in the comments actually thinks that she posted it, which, this is the internet, so it's not like that's all too surprising. Also, remember what I said about those minor yet still very noticeable inconsistencies with the acting?
Unfriend that dead bitch.
Yeah. Unfriending her doesn't work either. Shocking, right? So next we're introduced to two characters that I legitimately cannot figure out if they were meant to be stupid or not. One could argue that they're meant to be some kind of comedic relief, but they're not funny at all. I have seen some pretty incompetent police in horror movies before, but at least those cops kind of had the beginning of a baseline of an idea on how reality worked. So we get cop number 1 who says this to her.
So according to you, Miss Woodson, this video just magically appeared on your timeline this morning.
And instead of actually explaining to this guy about how hacking of one's personal information is in fact a thing, Laura just jumps to the "why would I do this" defense. Cop number 1 refers to the video asking Laura why Marina burned the picture of her. The dean then goes on to say that other students had reporting her harassing Marina, which Laura adamantly denies. Laura, if I may make a suggestion here, show them the messages. You have evidence about this individual who has presumably not only taken control of your account, but Marina's account too. You have messages from Marina that were sent after her death. Do you not think that that would be important for the police to know about? Not only that, but there's this pretty cool feature on most laptops nowadays called scrolling up. You could pretty quickly set those harassment accusations to bed with a quick look at the message history between the two of you. What happened to that psych degree, Laura? Analyzing human behavior? No, we're not doing that anymore? Okay, fair enough. So cop number 1 tells her if she can't delete the video, then she needs to delete her profile, which, yeah, that couldn't be solved by showing the computer to the police or anything. They cornered you now, Laura. So Laura calls Facebook support, and they're about as much help as you can imagine. Apparently, the support center can't actually deal with things as unheard of and rare as a hacked account, nor can they actually even delete the account from the position they're in. If they can't do that, what do these idiots do all day? Is this where they make the features that cause some of the messenger sounds to be more scary than others depending on who's texting you? So Laura goes to Kobe's dorm where the two of them look at Marina's profile and they see that things are still being posted from it. Gee, I wonder if there's anybody that you could show this to. People who are like threatening you and putting you on a list of suspects for whatever they think they're investigating right now. Kobe provides his critical insight on the situation.
That's intense.
And then he brings up the website's code, where he finds that Marina's profile is all messed up with some scary, rune-covered, matrix-looking code. He compares it to Laura's profile, which is normal code, and so if that's the case, why can Laura not delete the suicide video from her timeline? Also, do you think the police would want to see the nah? But anyway, as you can imagine, that goes a whole lot of nowhere, and we cut back to Tyler's place, where Laura is still looking over Marina's profile. Tyler makes a comment about how she needs to stop going to the profile, and then says,
It's called cyberstalking for a reason. They can't bother you if you're not online.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree, but, like, Tyler, do you know what's going on? So Marina's Facebook suddenly becomes friends with Gustavo, and a picture of him is posted on her timeline and promptly begins distorting. Wonderful. Let's see how this goes. Gustavo has just a bit more dialogue between him and his girlfriend before his phone suddenly goes out and the picture on his laptop begins glitching out. Eventually, it goes completely to black, and he clicks a couple keys until his webcam finally comes back on, freezing on a still of his face. He wanders around in the dark for a minute because he heard a door slowly creaking open and proceeds to continue moving to progressively darker rooms with each passing doorway. How nice, he's making it convenient for Marina. He sees a beehive in a corner of one of the rooms, and upon looking down, sees two disfigured young boys walking towards him. He handles it pretty well. Then he decides his best plan of action wouldn't be to run to the stairs, or back to his dorm, or, literally anywhere but an elevator, but he goes straight to an elevator. A small, cramped, clunky, claustrophobic elevator. Yeah, I know it wouldn't have mattered where he went, but come on, what did you think was gonna happen in there, Gus? So Isabel shows up just in time to see the elevator covered in blood and Gustavo ramming his face into the wall. She handles it pretty well. and then proceeds to do nothing as Gustavo finishes himself off. Don't run in and try and stop him or anything, just stand there and keep screaming. Good job. So Isabel's in the hospital now, and when Laura shows up, she tells her to go away, much to Laura's sadness. The parents try to tell Laura that Isabel's not herself, to which Isabel retorts saying that she wasn't herself. Nor was Gustavo. Both of them had been having nightmares, and Laura knows what it's all about. Way to make yourself look insane there, Isabel. I was having nightmares, and he was having nightmares, and now he's dead, and he wasn't himself, and it's all her fault. That's a bit of a leap in logic there, Izzy. It's almost like this scene was just here so we could have an everyone hates Laura moment. Nah, that couldn't be it. By the way, guess what was in the elevator while that was going on? A camera. Guess what that means?
Delete your account. Seriously. You want Isabel to see that?
Liv, you know I can't.
I don't care how. Just do it.
I already know you can't do this, and I was there when you called the support service to try and do it, but I'm still gonna be mean to you for no reason and tell you to try again. Also, everyone in her comments continues to believe she's the one posting this, and not a single one of them considers a hacker is to blame. Oh, you know, there's just this really nice girl I know who interns at a counseling organization for children who's posting all these videos of her friends dying that she has no way of even acquiring. So the dean tells Laura that she's going to suspend her if she doesn't delete her Facebook, and Laura thinks of absolutely no possible solution to defend herself. If only there was some way to show this person how you couldn't delete your profile or any of the posts put onto it. If only there was a way. Also, so you're suspending me for something I have no control over, huh? Somebody's getting sued. And so comes the obligatory research scene in which Kobe and Laura watch the video of Gustavo dying in a public computer room. I mean, really, where else could they possibly do it? They discover that the video has the very distinct sound of wasps in the background. Well, that's interesting. I wonder if the police caught that little detail. Considering the scene prior to this involved Tyler somehow seeing the medical report of this incident and drug abuse was one of the things possibly up in the air about the cause of death, I have reason to doubt it. But yes, black wasps are supposed to be evil or something, and they gather around witches as defenders. So Kobe and Laura go to Marina's dorm, and Kobe magically has a key card that can open it. Where he got this, I have no idea. What do you suppose the chances are that Kobe and Laura are going to find something that the police missed? I'll bet they're pretty damn high. Oh, look at that. Laura walked straight to a pile of pictures that had a photo of the previous school Marina attended. How long did that take? Like 20 seconds? So Laura goes to the school where we have the two small children playing patty cake near the front entrance cliché, and Laura runs into a woman who immediately provides her with Marina's real name, Marina Netafar. Wow, that sure was difficult. No wonder the police were so baffled to her real identity. It was shrouded in all sorts of dark mystery. How deep does this rabbit hole go? So the exposition continues and gets a touch dark as we see that Marina was raped by two of her classmates, which caused her to retreat further into her own world. It is implied through this story that she began studying black magic as a means of vengeance as students around her began having vivid nightmares, which they would tie in back to her. So Marina learned all about witchcraft from the internet, huh? At the young age she was at, she managed to shift through all the nonsense and scams on the internet and found actual witchcraft. They were, as female Benedict Cumberbatch says,
some dark corners online, things no child should see.
So why didn't you stop her from seeing it? Or the bullying that was very clearly happening. Meanwhile, Tyler pulls a wasp out of his ear because why not? No adverse effects from that or anything as he gets onto the phone with Laura, who proceeds to tell him about how the two boys who raped Marina were later found dead in a factory swarmed by wasps. You know, those two kids that had their face scratched out on the photo that Marina had. Killed by wasps, no less, because, you know, that happens all the time. The same wasp that Marina was constantly drawing. Yeah, that apparently never came up in any investigation, but, you know, Facebook account gets hacked and the police immediately assume Laura is directly responsible for every crime in the last 20 years. So Marina's account becomes friends with Isabel, and we cut to her. Her phone switches to its camera and freezes on her face, and she sees a burning building outside. She steps off her bed, where she sees a burned and mutilated corpse laying on the bed opposite of her. It jump scares her, and she decides that that's enough to warrant a departure from the room. You want to close the door behind you? Maybe make it a little harder for it to follow you? No? Okay. So the hospital is abandoned all of a sudden, and she wanders around calling out for someone until she runs into the two boys from the school. She runs into a bathroom where she sees herself in a bathtub of blood, and she doesn't seem all too thrilled about this. As Marina shows up, and the camera pans away as she slowly reaches her hand out towards her target. Turns out there were people there, doctors and all. It's just that not a single one of them thought, maybe we should do something about the delusional girl that's wandering the hallways running away from invisible adversaries. Oh yeah, and officers Lloyd Christmas and Harry Dune are back, and they're questioning Laura about where she got the security footage of Gustavo dying in the elevator. Moron 1 proceeds to say he's never seen anybody slit their throats before, and before Moron 2 asks if it was caused by a new drug they don't know about. You think Laura shows them any of the information she's gathered on the last day or so? Nah, of course not. And of course, this new video gets posted to Laura's wall too, and everyone still proceeds to watch it. Security footage started to get a pretty good angle to see her cutting her throat. Almost looks like it was professionally done or something. So Tyler, Olivia, and Kobe all try to delete their accounts, but Marina won't let them. Nor will she let them unfriend Laura, which... why? Isn't that kind of your goal here, Marina? I mean, I guess, yeah, you're trying to kill everyone close to her, but why does this whole Facebook thing matter so much to you? Did this dark satanic ritual you perform only work if you go after people who are on social media? What if one of Laura's friends doesn't have a Facebook? You think Laura's grandmother has a Facebook? If she's still around, how are you going to get to her? Why aren't you just killing all these people in quick succession? Why are you stretching this out over multiple days? Sure, you're slowly dwindling down Laura's friends list, because I guess we're supposed to care about that, but do you really think that Laura regularly talks to all 800 of these people? No, you don't, because you're actively preventing certain people from unfriending her. You already know who you're killing, and Laura's not going to have much left over afterwards, despite how many friends she has left on Facebook, so why are you waiting? Your plan is dumb, Marina. So Kobe explains to Laura about black mirrors and how they're used for scrying. Scrying is a process utilized by the occult as a way to communicate with the other side. He also goes into how Marina's suicide was actually part of a ritual that witches would perform as a last resort to being hunted. Apparently, if a witch hung and burned herself in front of a black mirror, they would become an evil spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to seek revenge on those who wronged them in life, and evidently the only way to stop this curse is to destroy the black mirror that the witch originally killed themselves in front of. And would you like to take a guess on what Marina's black mirror was?
Her laptop.
How is that a black mirror? Do I need to go into all the reasons why that doesn't work? Was her webcam her black mirror, or was it the computer screen itself? Because most modern laptop screens don't reflect all too well. What about the laptop's webcam was black? It just records things. If the prerequisites are that low, can any camera be a black mirror? Can my cell phone's camera be a black mirror? Can my cell phone's screen be a black mirror? Can I just turn the lights out in any given room with anything that could even slightly be perceived as reflective in it and have that be a black mirror? I googled scrying mirrors and immediately found one for sale for $60, but why not save the money and just pour some water and dark food dye into a bowl? That instant black mirror right there. And I guess Olivia's had enough of this nonsense because she's leaving now. I'm sure nothing bad will happen to her after she leaves. Oh, and just in case you care, Olivia's under 100 Facebook friends now. Yeah, I didn't either. So we get a scene where Laura's mom is asking about what's going on, and Laura continues to be completely incapable of properly explaining the situation to any reasonable degree whatsoever, because remember, everyone, she's a psych major. Wait, so you're telling me that Laura's mom hasn't seen the videos? She's on her friends list. We've seen her posting things. Why is mom just now getting around to asking about this? I mean, yeah, not all 800 plus people are going to watch the videos, but you'd think the family members would be the first ones to say, "Oh, look, my daughter tagged me in the video. Let's see what..." Oh dear. You don't seem too concerned about this, Mom. Inspector Clouseau over here is more informed of the situation than you are. So now it's time for more exposition. Turns out that Marina's mother is from Moores Grove, which was seemingly a farmhouse commune of cultists. In a rather prominent news-covered event, the farmhouse caught on fire and everyone who lived there perished, save for Marina's mother, Ada, who was taken to the hospital and kept alive long enough to give birth to her daughter. It's very intriguing how these flashbacks look identical to the things that Marina posts. I'll give it a pass and say we're just flashing back to those posts again, but that isn't really established, and the way it's presented kind of makes it look like these are exactly the events that took place, in which case, how the hell did Marina get footage of this? Shortly after this, Marina marks Olivia as her next target. Upon seeing this, Laura and Tyler quickly jump into their vehicle and try to rush over in time to save her. We see the usual routine pass by as Olivia slowly walks around her house, which is somehow dark in the middle of the day. Her computer screen freezes on her face, Marina jump scares her a couple times, nothing really new to cover. Conveniently, Laura and Tyler arrive just in time to provide a landing pad for Olivia as she tosses herself off the balcony. Well, don't be too hard on yourself, guys. You can't save every... She survived that. She survived that.
She's stable. She might actually make it through this.
Bull. She fell from multiple stories onto a moving vehicle. She is dead. So now it's time for Officers Jar Jar Binks and Ernest P. Worrell to come offer their intellectual commentary on the situation. What are you guys going to say to her? Wow, you killed that girl too, huh? What are you honestly hoping to get from asking this girl anything? Laura abandons Tyler to them, and I almost feel sorry for him as she vanishes from sight off to continue moving the story forward. Needless to say, the police come up and have nothing but the absolute pinnacle of intellectual narration to provide.
Someone had a rough day.
I really don't like these two. So Kobe and Laura are going to Morris Grove now. I'm pretty sure Kobe's only going just so we can get this scene of Tyler being unreasonably jealous about it when Laura tells him over the phone. On the way, Laura gives us some cliches and informs the audience that there's no cell phone service. Kobe snaps back at her, asking what she's so worried about. He goes on to say that she must be completely safe as Marina is simply trying to make her lonely. This is a follow-up to a previous statement that Kobe made in the car earlier, informing Laura that he was not helping her for her sake, but for his own. If that's the case, why don't you just cut off all ties with her? Move away, change your name, I don't know. If all you care about is living, why are you still talking to her if you think it's going to get you killed? I mean, sure, you have a plan right now, which might work, assuming this is where her body is, which, spoiler alert, it's not. But do you really have to be an asshole to Laura about this when you're voluntarily choosing the more risky option? Marina would have absolutely no reason to go after you if you abandoned ship and left Laura to deal with this alone. And no, don't say you tried. You tried unfriending her once. Great effort. So anyway, we cut back to the morons, and as you can imagine, they're getting a lot done. Olivia wakes up, possessed by Marina, and begins ripping her life support and IVs from herself. Her heart monitor flatlines, and I suppose none of the doctors felt the need to check up on that. Honestly, after the amount of delicate care given to Isabel, that doesn't really surprise me. Her bones crunch as she sits up and crawls out of bed, and the policeman outside is immediately attacked by her. He proceeds to not fight back whatsoever against the dying, crippled, weak teenage girl, who then proceeds to disarm him and shoot herself in the head. The other cop comes out, and then the scene ends with them just staring at each other as they revel in their own incompetence. So Kobe and Laura get to the building, and Kobe suddenly becomes friends with Marina. Interesting. I thought they didn't have cell phone service. Doesn't that make getting Facebook notifications a bit on the difficult side? Anyway, he reacts to this by promptly letting himself fall behind Laura as she walks ahead of him and out of his line of sight. Brilliant. He sees a figure in a black gown emerge from a nearby basement, and it begins walking towards him, but then it promptly disappears as soon as Laura comes up and jump scares him from the side. Fascinating. Isabel was hallucinating that the people around her weren't there and that she was completely by herself. We don't know if Olivia and Gustavo were hallucinating this, but we can pretty easily presume they were. But for some reason, Marina didn't do that with you. Why not? Certainly it wasn't so we could get a scene where you turn into an antagonist, would it? Of course not. So our dynamic duo make their way into the basement, where they find a bunch of stuff that means basically nothing, and then Kobe begins Blair Witching in the corner. Laura approaches him, and he turns around with a distant expression on his face, informing Laura that Marina's plan can't work if she's dead. And then he stabs her. Okay. Bold move on your part, Kobe, but you're already marked for death. Don't you think that attacking Laura and trying to ruin Marina's plan is just going to hasten your demise? I suppose you don't have any way of knowing, per se, and there doesn't seem to be an alternative to you getting out alive, so fair enough, but how are you even still alive anyway? Everyone else begins hallucinating and gets killed off immediately after Marina friends him. Why are you still completely coherent? Also, Laura, is this maybe a sign that you shouldn't have brought Kobe on this little field trip? The guy doesn't exactly scream mental stability. Every scene he's in shows him looking like he just finished injecting NyQuil directly into his eyeballs. On top of that, he already told you, twice no less, that he's only helping you to save himself, so what did you think was going to happen when you brought him down into the creepy cult basement, Miss Psych Major? So as per the norm for any given stabbing victim, Laura is immediately invigorated with energy as she hits Kobe over the head with her flashlight and flees the basement. That's quite the adrenaline rush there, Laura. Yep. Still going. No blood loss whatsoever. Kobe jumps up and chases after her, but Laura proceeds to outrun him, as stabbing someone in the stomach is essentially as effective as hitting them in the face with a wet sock. Hey look, Laura, there are some people. You gonna ask them for help? Nah, of course not. So while she waits for her healing factor to kick in, Laura realizes that the only other place that Marina could have killed herself is the mills where she murdered the 2 boys. You know, the other place she was constantly drawing and animating all the time. Police investigation? What's that? So Tyler runs into Kobe and they yell at each other for a minute, and then Laura calls Tyler and tells him she's going to the factory. How about all that lack of cell phone coverage that Moore's Grove has? Why did you even make the comment that they don't have cell phone coverage if they're just going to be getting on their phones and doing everything they need to be doing anyway? But yes, Laura's stab wound continues to not affect her whatsoever as she enters the facility, and Kobe and Tyler arrive too, so we can get our little finale with the last remnants of our little group of idiots. Laura wanders around the factory until she gets a video call from her mom. I guess the movie forgot to kill her off, so we get a quick little filler scene where she gets all scary and walks off with a knife. Lovely. And Tyler shows up to help, and as you can imagine, help is not provided. He asks her about her stab wound, and I had honestly forgot it ever happened at this point because she's reacting to it about the same way that she would stubbing her toe. Anyway, no time to think about that because Tyler has to die now. We don't have time for him to become friends with Marina or anything, so we'll just have Kobe come up and stab him in the neck, even though he is friends with her and should be dead at this point, but don't think about stuff. Scary things are happening. So yeah, Kobe is full-on Batman villain at this point as he creepily says hi as Tyler sinks to the ground and dies. Laura retreats down a dark hall and then I guess she gives up halfway through it. Kobe approaches her, but Marina finally decides to do something about it as he is quickly swarmed by black wasps. And then he disappears. Oh, yeah, fair enough, I guess. I suppose Marina could have hocus-pocused him away or something. It just seems a bit odd to me. A young Marina shows up and informs Laura that she wants to be best friends forever, and then she walks off, disappearing through a nearby door. Laura follows her and ends up coming across Marina's corpse and laptop at long last. Laura approaches the computer, wherein she is promptly teleported to the forest, where Marina jump scares her before the scene cuts to black. Oh, that was a fairly suitable ending to our crappy horror fit. Oh, there's more. Now cutting to a new school entirely, we see Laura wearing the same hoodie as Marina, using Marina's laptop as she stares at her blank Facebook page, which now has Marina's art all over it and 0 friends. Hold on. So everybody unfriended her, huh? Including the people who died and Marina. Okay. She looks over at some people who look back at her, and I guess she's gonna send them a friend request or something. I don't know. Oh, and Laura changed her name on Facebook to make it look like Marina's Facebook name, just to shove it down your throat a tad bit more. But just in case you're really missing it, the camera shows that one of Laura's eyes is blue, so we can pretty safely assume that she's being possessed by Marina at this point. Doesn't that kind of completely defeat the purpose of killing all her friends and family, Marina? If your intention was just to possess her, why did you even go through the trouble? Also, did the police just forget about her? I thought they wanted to ask her more stupid questions that didn't relate to anything. What was Marina planning on doing if she ran into them? Sadly, this actually could have set up a very interesting sequel, provided we strayed a bit from the weird Facebook theme that this movie kept trying to push. We could have had a story with a great amount of potential in which Laura fought back against the possession while Laura began haunting those who bullied her, while trying to desperately pursue those who were friendly to her. We could have built upon both Laura and Marina's characters as we see how Marina would behave around certain social gatherings and interactions, while simultaneously seeing how Laura handles absolute isolation. There's a lot of different ways they could take that story, and they could end it with either girl emerging victorious and still provide us with something of substance. Maybe we could have been introduced to Tyler 2.0 or something, and the movie became about him trying to destroy the laptop once he found out that's what needed to happen to save Laura. Unfortunately, after looking at how well this movie did financially, it's not really looking like anything like that's going to happen anytime soon. Overall, Friend Request definitely isn't the worst I've seen. As I said, the acting is for the most part fairly decent. The performances of Liesl Allers was very much a breath of fresh air, and while everyone else wasn't necessarily perfect, there weren't really any moments that made me turn away from the screen in embarrassment. The pacing was well done, the cinematography was well done, and the soundtrack, while not exactly instilling fear and dread, was relatively unique for its genre, and I found it to be one of my favorite parts of the film. Nothing amazing, mind you, but once again, fairly decent. So yeah, that was all the good stuff. Too bad about everything else. And these two idiots. Imagine how short this movie would have been if these two actually knew how to do their job. The whole Facebook theme was a bit on the strange side. It seemed to be more ham-fisted in and was only really there to provide reason for the movie's name. Laura's diminishing friends list count was laughable at best and provided nothing to the overall narrative of the movie. I'm not sure what demographic this theme was trying to appeal towards, but it ended up holding the film back more than anything else. If they would have showed us more of Laura's life and showed us that she had a very large group of friends outside of the idiots that she hung out with, then once the video started getting posted and more people began leaving her side, it would have more efficiently gotten the isolation feeling across as we slowly began to see Laura actually becoming alone. Instead of Facebook, we could have had the theme of find out who your real friends are, which would have made it incredibly more impactful when those friends actually started dying off. There was never a point where I felt like Laura was actually alone until the very end of the movie, and even then it was cheapened by the knowledge that Marina possessed her. In addition to that, filmmakers, learn what happens to the human body when a knife is thrust into it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like or subscribe or something. I don't know. I'll probably make more of these at some point. Who knows? I received quite a bit of help with the making of this script, and I would very much like to thank those who assisted me in getting this video out there. Many thanks to Tim Nidell of Saturday Morning Rewind, who assisted me in the making of my intro for the beginning of these videos. The link to his channel, as you can imagine, will be down in the description. We got through another movie, and yet I have so many more planned for the future. So until then, I hope you have a lovely day.